Thanks, folks. Thanks. You seem like very nice, reasonable people. Short time I've known you, you know. I mean, most people want the same things. Dallas, Omaha, Sacramento, New York. People everywhere want family, community, security, universal values. But if we can't agree how to get these things after all these years, maybe we need to take some time apart, separate, divorce, consciously uncouple. The Founding Fathers warned us it would come to this. John Adams said the two-party system is the greatest political evil under our Constitution. George Washington cautioned in his farewell address against excessive political party spirit and geographical distinction. Wise words. They tell us what to do about it? They did not. They just said it, then they died. Now they left us to figure it out. Real geniuses. America, two parties, still, all these years later, two parties. There's 350 million people, and there's two parties. There's 15 genders, and there's two parties. There's 4 bathrooms, and there's two parties. And those parties are too proportionate. Every vote, 51-49. That's too many unhappy people every election. That means every election our system is saying to steak eaters and vegans, okay, election's over, you gotta eat steak. Well, I don't like steak, I'm a vegan. Steak makes me physically ill. I'm allergic. It's only every day for the next 4 years, don't worry. Two parties that see the country totally differently. The right sees only the positive, the left sees only the negative. Right sees this country like they're at a high school football game in the stands, cheering, USA, USA, we're number one. And the left sees it like they're at an ICU unit. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. America is terminally racist and fatally patriarchal. It's hopeless. Let's be honest, we don't even like each other. We don't even support each other's businesses or economies. Red states hate Hollywood and the media. They won't go to the movies or read the New York Times. And blue states won't use tobacco, dairy, or carbs. The red states base their vote on Paul's letter to the Corinthians. Blue states base theirs on the Chomsky reader. And nobody wants to admit it isn't really working out because it's embarrassing to be the generation that lost the United States. Yeah, nobody wants to admit it didn't really pan out. There's nothing to be ashamed of. No country really worked. We had a good a run as anybody else. We still have the remnants of the greatest empire in history. Still have the best towels out of any country you'll ever go to. You go to the nicest hotels in Europe, you're still wet after using them. You're wet and the towels are wet. The towels don't work. Still have the greatest abundance of ice cubes. Prime Minister of England asked for ice cubes in a glass. They give her 1 ice cube. Average person here, 6 ice cubes, 7 ice cubes. You go out for a drink after the show, they'll give you 6 ice cubes. That's the society we set up. This guy's worth more ice cubes than the Prime Minister of England. We're so successful, we have a diet called intermittent fasting, where you go to bed hungry. I mean, in the history of civilization, everyone's primal goal, not to go to bed hungry. And we get to the point, people walk up to you, how are you doing? I'm starving. Congratulations. We succeeded, we're badass. If there's a world war right now, we have to worry about maybe 2 countries, China and Russia. Out of 190 countries, 2. Uruguay has to be nice to everybody. They go to the UN Security Council meetings, they bump into Luxembourg, come out of the bathroom, they're both going, excuse me. Meanwhile, our president can go, up yours. Everybody's like, oh, it's America, you know how they get, they're crazy. Because they know we can really hurt them. You know, other countries talk tough, but they can't get off the bar stool. So the problem is not out there, the problem is in here. We have met the enemy, it is us. And now we're at risk of a civil war. And you don't want to see a civil war in this country. This country is not built for another civil war. It's going to be the first time in history that you see fat refugees. That's not going to be a good look. Refugees in jorts and flip-flops and Dunder Mifflin t-shirts, pulling coolers towards the Canadian border. It's going to look like a giant cattle drive. There's nothing glamorous 50 years from now. Kids are in history class reading about the Battle of Six Flags, the Siege of Dave and Buster's. The problem with war, it makes idiocy contagious. You wind up with mass hysteria, like this country right now. Half this country swears there's a Muslim invasion right now, and the other half swears there's a Nazi invasion. That's why this country is built on compromise, because the Founding Fathers understood most people are mentally ill. And let's remember, war is more likely to start when extremists start to rise to the top, because extremists are who you want in charge during a war. You don't want moderate generals. Who needs a moderate general? You don't want a general giving that pre-battle speech, okay, men, we're going to descend that hill and destroy that village. Remember something, those people down there are basically just like us, deep down. It's a different culture. Now let's go kill them. And we're not going to be able to stop war once it starts. No one in history has figured out how to stop a war. Nobody's even figured out how to stop bar fights. How are we going to stop wars? And bars are the last place that should ever be a fight. Bars, the happiest place on earth. It's like Disneyland for adults. You're not at work anymore. You're with friends. There's liquor, music, attractive people, and there's still violence. Work is where you would have expected to have seen violence this whole time. Because you're at work. 9:30 Tuesday morning should be the most violent place on the planet. Don't go near the copier, it's a bucket of blood. So how did all this happen to such a great empire? Well, for one thing, we wanted more. That was our mission statement: bigger, better, faster, more. Started out with 13 colonies, and now we're 50 states. What was wrong with 13 colonies? 13 seems like a lot. We were already bigger than England and France, but we got greedy. We didn't take the hint from God. God put giant mountain ranges and rivers all over the place. That was to indicate different countries. Europe, same size as us, basically, bunch of different countries, because they understood. Every 700 miles, people have a different personality. I mean, do you really think Hungary and Scotland have less in common than Utah and New Jersey? And the glue that was going to keep us all together, keep us from tribalism, civil war, all that Constitution stuff. Democracy, equality, free speech. Free speech. Boy, did we take that one too far. Nobody ever shuts up in this country. And for a country based on free speech, I gotta say, haven't heard a lot of great speeches come out of here. If you could name 20 great speeches since our country began, I'm wrong, but you can't. There's been like 5. The Martin Luther King speech, the John F. Kennedy speech, and the next 3 were end of the season monologues on The Bachelor. Where the guy gives the speech to the girl, he's like, with you, I feel like I can be me. But with her, I feel like I could be the man I'm supposed to be someday. And I did put myself out there, and I do see myself with a wife and children and a family someday, and it would only be with you. But you're so perfect that scares me. And that's why I'm sending you home. And I'm giving the rose to her. Yeah, free speech did nothing but gave everybody an opinion, and social media ruined opinion. Because free speech was never meant to go electric. That was an acoustic art. It was meant to be spoken on top of a tree stump in front of 7 other farmers, or maybe in a general store sitting outside on the porch in a rocking chair. If somebody told you, even 15 years ago, we have this idea where everybody's going to be able to give their innermost thoughts all day, every day, minute-by-minute updates to the entire planet. You would say, oh God, no, please don't do that. That's gonna lead to a breakdown of communication, accusation, ridicule, and mob rule. Because social media sounds like the ultimate democracy, a civil exchange of ideas among all people equally. Nobody knew it was gonna turn into drunks at a wedding, grabbing the microphone out of the best man's hand. It's like, hold on, I wanna say something right now. Who is that? I don't know, he's not supposed to be up there. He's the date of some girl who works with the bride. Yeah. Remember when the internet started? We were all positive soccer moms. Everybody's posting pictures of unicorns, sunsets, rainbows, inspirational quotes. Make yesterday today's tomorrow. Yeah, it's corny, but look at it now. Stay in your lane. Keep my name out of your mouth. Die in a fire. And I'm old, you know. I grew up offline. And in those days, if you wanted to have a political debate with somebody, you couldn't do it in your underwear. You had to get dressed, go down to the local bar, pick up the newspaper, find somebody you knew disagreed with you politically. You'd be like, you like this, don't you? And he goes, as a matter of fact, I do. What's your problem? And then you'd have a debate when it was friends, family, people you knew from the neighborhood. So the bar itself was Facebook. And Twitter was all the strangers doing coke in the bathroom together. Speaking in short bursts of under 280 characters. Paranoid, like, yeah, why are you following me, huh? Trying to send me a message? I'll block you. Reddit was the regulars of the bar that were there too often, so they noticed things no one should ever notice. Just watching all the time. Did you change the taps on the IPA? Okay, that's enough out of you. And the troll was the guy in the corner asleep who just lifted his head up every 3 hours and go, everybody here can kiss my ass. Like, all right. That's enough out of you. We're going to unfriend you if you keep it up. Yeah. The other thing social media did, it created subcategories of personalities. Messiah people. There's people that have a savior complex on social media, which I get it. If you have more than 12 followers, technically, you're doing better than Jesus ever did. They're probably thinking, hey, Jesus had 12, I have 23. I should probably weigh in on some of the matters of the day. The grandiosity, the self-importance, thumbs up, thumbs down. We created a nation of Roman emperors. Also, people that think because they're famous, that must mean they're intelligent. You have famous people that have spent every day the last 5 years online arguing with Mississippi teenagers over the Affordable Care Act. Athletes giving civics lessons to electricians from Topeka. Filmmakers on the red carpet scolding sheet metal workers. Like the guy's supposed to go, I better listen to him. He directed a superhero movie I kind of liked 3 years ago. I saw a famous actor tweeting from the Mediterranean. Here on vacation with my son in Italy, just want to remind people back home to get out next week and vote for 3rd Alderman, 14th District in Southwest Indiana. Does he not know he's lecturing a guy in the 14th District in Southwest Indiana who's eating a Hungry Man dinner on an engine block in the living room? For his son's birthday, he has to convince him his old welding helmet is an Iron Man mask. There's no vacation. He lets the kids come down to the job site and play with the blasting caps while his wife's trying to get a suntan laying on a paving shovel. You don't drive up to people in your Lamborghini, splash them with mud, and when they go, what'd you do that for? You go, I'm speaking truth to power. People don't care what I'm saying right now. Everybody wants to control other people, what they say, what they think. Everybody. Even people that you'd go to see with the express purpose of having a different opinion, like a comedian, hypothetically. Yes, a lot of people focused on comedians' language. Yeah, it's been really fun watching comedy become woke. And because, no, look, bloggers tell me all the time, they say, as a comedian, don't you realize you're supposed to evolve with your audience? And that is true. That's actually why I got into comedy, so I could march in lockstep with society's contemporary convention. I wanted to conform to the status quo. They asked me when I was a little kid, Colin, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I don't care, as long as I get to reinforce mainstream opinion. The other thing free speech gave is everybody's a critic. Everybody knows what's wrong. Even if you don't have a solution, it doesn't matter. You get to give your opinion. Ask anybody what's wrong with this country, they know. Geniuses. I'll tell you the problem with this country, these politicians. Everybody's like, oh, there's a fresh take. You know. Like, no, it's these corporations. It's the insurance companies. It's the drug companies. It's the legal system. It's the justice system. It's the unions. It's the immigrants. It's the American people. And finally, the big picture visionary. Problem with this country is it's a corrupt, decaying, systemically sexist, racist, homophobic, xenophobic, genocidal hellhole. Like, that sounds terrible. You got to get out of there fast. You got to leave. Like, why would I leave? It's the greatest country in the world. Yeah, so free speech was a stupid idea because we're not smart enough to handle that. Should have been free speech Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Say whatever you want. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, facial expressions only. Sunday, you think about what you're going to say that week. What else? Law. We're not a nation of men. We're a nation of laws, right? And people that enforce those laws called representatives. That was the genius of the founding fathers. They said middlemen. That's what they came up with. Politicians, lawyers, cops, people you can focus your anger on so you don't end up chasing each other around the town squares with hammers all day. Because if there was no real estate agent, the old days, no middleman, people would just walk up, knock on your door. Hey, what's up? I like your house. I want to live here. Say, well, I live here. I like it. Do you like it enough to die for it? Because that's where this is going. Do you understand that? You'd have to go, excuse me, go in the back, get a sharpened object, come out and slice their head off, put it on a stake outside your house. That was to tell everybody, not for sale. And there were other systems of law before ours too that worked well. Duels, vendettas, vigilante justice. Nobody sued for slander in the days of duels. You'd take care of it yourself. You'd walk up, I heard you said the Duke of Gloucester was a scoundrel. And the guy's like, yeah, so what? So I'm the Duke of Gloucester. That's so what? On guard, you slithering rat catcher, you know. Vendetta. In the days of vendetta, some other family would come and start grazing their animals on your land, which is kind of, that's an insult. That's like if somebody puts their jacket on the back of your seat. That's an intrusion on your territory. So they go to the elders, what do? They're grazing animals on our land. Do we kill them? He's like, you don't kill them. You let them, they're poor like us. They got 4 yaks, we have 4 yaks. Let them grow, let them have family, let them graze, let them be prosperous, kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. Then when they're at the pinnacle of their success, then you kill them. That's a vendetta. So somebody puts their jacket on the back of your seat. At this show, you're not going to do anything. You wait till you're at Hamilton. And it might actually mean something. And then, First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, led to what? Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what rights always lead to. We're literally swiping other human beings, right? People are swiping other human beings every day. That's, if you showed Tinder to Caligula, he would have gone, let me get this straight. Oh my God, are you serious? This is what you, jeez, I mean, I like to have a good time, but this is really too much. We're gonna have to pull back. We're gonna go back to dating, what dating was before electricity. No sex. That's how this country got built. Guys show up, next generation, young guys are gonna show up at the door, bow hello to the family. Like the old days. First date was same date every time, a walk on a path. It's like a nice walk on a path. Second date, things start to heat up a little bit. You push her on a swing for 20 minutes. A swing was a nice time back then. A swing is still actually a nice time. That's what's embarrassing. You ever go on a swing accidentally as an adult? You start to enjoy yourself? It's still embarrassing. That's how this country was built. Nobody had sex. Through the 1940s, you watch those 1940s movies, the guy's trying to get a kiss. That's one kiss. That's the plot of the whole movie. It's World War II. He's got a sailor outfit on. Come on, doll. Give me a kiss. I'm crazy about you. I'm shipping out tomorrow. He's always shipping out tomorrow. And the girl's like, no, he's got 500 wingmen behind him on the destroyer. Like, they're trying to back him up. Like, give him a kiss, honey. Give him a kiss. Bye-bye. Give him a kiss. Bye-bye. Even when I was a kid, Johnny Carson would get on TV and make jokes about the honeymoon. All the old people would fall out of their chairs laughing because that was the dirtiest joke you could say. That's the first time you had sex. And Johnny be out there like, and then they went on their honeymoon. And all the old ladies be like, oh, Johnny, you're too much, I swear. Like, they didn't leave the room for 3 days, Johnny. Now people go on their honeymoon, they've had sex with each other hundreds of times. Nothing special happening. Like, hey, it's our honeymoon. You want to have sex? What about the paddleboard rental? Huh? What is your problem? I don't want to have sex with you. This is our honeymoon. We're supposed to be doing things different than we do back home, making memories. There's a parasailing, a volcano tour. I've had sex with you half my life. I've never been on a zip line. If one of our friends had ever walked up to us with a Polaroid in his hand, and we're like, what's that? He's like, it's a picture of my penis. Why do you have that? Did the doctor take that? He's like, no, I took it myself. Are you bringing it to the doctor? No, I was going to show that girl over there. Why would you do that to you? Because I like her. Well, sex, another thing we just took too far. Not all of us, obviously. You know who you are. And you know what you've done. What's left? Democracy, equality. Equality, another one of those great ideas, turned out to be a really bad move. Because equal under the law means everybody's equal under the law. That means it protects assholes. That means the person, when you're at work on your computer, the person that comes up on your left shoulder and taps you and you turn around there, and then they moved over to your right shoulder. And they think that's funny. That person's vote counts the same as yours at every election. We live collectively in a democracy, which is fine. Individually, you have not lived in democracy. Your life has not been, a sliver of it has been in democracy. 8 hours a day you've been at work. That's a dictatorship. You don't vote at work. We want Thursday afternoons off. We voted. You're fired. 6 hours a day, you're with your family. That's a tribal system. An hour and a half a day, you're on the subway. That's a failed anarchist experiment. And 6 hours a day, you're asleep. So you lived in democracy 2.5 hours a day of your life. Half that time, you're arguing over mispronunciations with Alexa. Yeah. Democracy is, first of all, founding fathers didn't come up with it. Greeks invented it. They just rode the wave. They were in the right place at the right time. Now they're on the right side of history, which is all anybody wants anymore, to be on the right side of history. What a foolish goal. You'll never know. You could be on the right side and then you're on the wrong side one day. You know who's on the right side of history? 500 years in this country. Christopher Columbus. From 1492 till 1992. You never heard a bad word about this guy. They named cities after him. Schools, streets, circles. Then one day, like 11 years ago, people started coming to me, you know what tomorrow is, right? Columbus Day. Like it was Manson's birthday. He went from the right side to the wrong side, and he was dead the whole time. He didn't do anything different. So right now, some states are already changing the name of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Everybody goes, that's great, what a great idea. That's how stupid everybody is. First of all, do you think Indigenous people want their national holiday to be on the day Columbus landed in America. This is when you know a country's on its way out. When even on holidays, we got to have drama questioning our holiday, because that means we're questioning ourselves, our identity. We still celebrate them, but there's always controversy. Celebrate Thanksgiving, but just focus on the family. You'll never see the picture you saw when I was a kid, with a long table with the pilgrims and the tribal chiefs breaking bread. Just a close-up on the turkey. Crop out the backstory. Still celebrate Christmas, but no Christ, no Mass, but just Christmas. We still celebrate 4th of July. That's the one I would have gotten rid of, because the Declaration of Independence, that created expectation. We made promises there. We declared ourselves to be the good guy. What a rookie move. You never go full good guy. Then you have to live up to it. Russia played history perfectly. From day one, they go, we're the asshole. Doesn't matter what they do. They invade the Ukraine. You're like, that's messed up. They did say they were the asshole, though. And now, here it is, 243 years later, and we're running on fumes. America, we had such promise, you know? We lived up to some of the big promises we did live up to. The big one, when I was a kid, they said, the reason the United States is so great, anybody can grow up and become president of the United States. Hey, they said anybody. They weren't kidding on that one. But just because Trump spends all day on Twitter inflicting his severe psychological damage on all of us, doesn't mean you don't do the same thing. Because Trump is more than just a person and less than just a person, ironic. He's an idea. Because if you're crouching as a plumber under a rusty sink after the age of 40 with bad knees, a 3 Bavarian cream habit a day, and a 12-year-old truck, you don't like being told to acknowledge your privilege. And everybody's telling you to do that, except Trump. Because it's easy to be charitable when it's not your job on the line, right? I mean, right now, you know and I know, somewhere out there, south of the border, there's a Mexican George Clooney, better looking than George Clooney, a better actor, more charismatic, and he would do George Clooney movies for 1/20th the salary that George does them for. And if he ever makes his way up north, George Clooney might be chanting, build that wall, build that wall. Some people hear Trump, they probably hear the Founding Fathers. Hey, you never heard the Founding Fathers talk. What if they sounded like Trump? We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, and actually it's getting pretty perfect. It's actually pretty fantastic. They don't want to report it. It's pretty great. James Madison, very bright guy, James Madison. Little Jimmy, I call him Little Jimmy Madison. It's a joke. Take a joke. He can't take a joke. He doesn't take a joke. Alexander Hamilton, Crazy Al, I call him Crazy Al. He wants to start a bank. He wants to start a national bank. I don't know. Maybe we will. We'll see. We'll see. Because the mistake is you looking at him like he's a candidate that was elected to political office. He was instead of what he was, a middle finger. Because look at Christians, intelligent people say to me, how could Christians have voted for Trump? Here's the left strategy to Christians the past 50 years. Hey, you superstitious idiots, are you going to vote for us? I don't know why that doesn't work. Trump was probably the least Christian person that's walked the face of the earth in a couple of centuries, but he brings them in, gives the speeches like it's a corporate event to him. You know, he doesn't really know, but he's like, you Christian people are some of the most fantastic, tremendous people. Your faith is actually a wonderful thing. I love your faith. I love it. The Bible is a great read, by the way. What a great book. I read it at Mar-a-Lago. I never read it before. I read it. Fantastic. Could not put it down. Read it at Mar-a-Lago. It's a beach read. It's a great beach read. You got Joseph and Mary. They're trying to get in. They're trying to get in. She's pregnant, about to have the baby. They can't get in. They can't get in. I don't know why. Nobody lets them in the inn. No room at the inn. I've owned hotels. Sometimes you don't want people in for different reasons, but, you know, they finally do get in. They have the baby. Grows up to become a tremendous success. And a lot of things happen. Some good, some not so good. treated very unfairly, by the way, very unfairly. Jesus, it's actually a disgrace the way Jesus was treated. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, but even the people who love Trump, I think we all know how this is going to end. Because you think the term, it's obviously not going to be the traditional waving goodbye on the White House lawn, jump in the chopper. Even he doesn't think it'll end that way, right? It's probably last seen in Scarface, I would think. You know, it can be no other. But however Trump leaves, our fundamental differences don't leave with him. We're still divided. The Founding Fathers wrote in the Declaration of Independence, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands that have connected them to another. And they were writing that about us in England, but they say subconsciously you're always writing about yourself. And maybe they knew this day was coming. And now this day is here. And now what, you know? No, I'm asking you, now what? I wrote 60% of this show, and I was like, wow, this was hard, you know? Well, we have a suggestion box in the lobby if anybody's so inclined. Never know. Yeah, on my idea, we break it up into city-states. Ancient Greece gave us democracy, they gave city-states. That's what we do, break up into red states, blue states, in-between states. E pluribus pluribus. Out of many, a few more. A year from now, you could be going to visit family, friends in the red states, drive in, start to hear Rascal Flatts in the background, smell barbecue, Aquanet. You get in, it's divided up into truck stop, RV park, mega church. Everybody's wearing orange vests. It's always hunting season in the red states. Everybody's got a gun. The president of the NRA is like the Tim Cook. He does launches every year with a new product. Instead of the Apple, it's like, okay, this is an iPhone Predator drone. It goes into your contacts, syncs it with Google Maps, and all you do is go, Siri, kill Steve. Then you go to the blue states, you progressive states, safe states. You know, you go in there, you get close, you start to see giant speakers on the trees blasting All Things Considered. You smell fair trade coffee. If you go in there, people are getting arrested for microaggressions, and they're going to jail for mansplaining and fat shaming and file sharing and live streaming. The cops pull you over for cultural appropriations. It's like, no, officer, these aren't dreadlocks. The rain does this to my hair, I swear to God. He's like, miss, are those hoop earrings? My mother's Peruvian, I have ID. He's like, I don't believe it. Give her a 23andMe. Let's get to the bottom of this. And I understand it's sad breaking up the United States, but we're already broken up. This would just be acknowledging it. We're already tribal. We're broken into tribes already. It's over. Liberal, conservative, white, black, Latino, Asian, Wall Street, Main Street, the working poor, the forgotten middle class, feminists, soccer moms, Bernie bros, dad bods, man tits, mom jeans, muffin tops, unibrows, paleo, cardio, keto, intersectional trans vegans. We're more tribal than 18th century Afghanistan. Submitted. Thanks. Yeah. Well, maybe we go out gracefully, admit we had a good run, we ran its course. I mean, we did pretty good. We got dropped down here naked, surrounded by SUV-sized tigers, monsters, and we beat them all. We conquered them all. Just with our minds and our opposable thumbs to make weapons. Yeah, these helped us survive, and ironically, they're going to destroy us now. I mean, we did good. We made something out of nothing. And the last thing we're going to make, AI, robots, because robots are here to replace us, and they should, right? I mean, if you had to give up your cell phone right now, right here, for the rest of your life, or you give up your cell phone and never have a cell phone again, or you get a new updated cell phone every year for free, but one of your friends, the one that you fight with the most, has to die. I mean, you don't have to say it out loud, just think in your heart what you would really What you would really do. See? I mean, look, the history of humanity has been the life of a person. Early man was like a newborn. You could barely stand up, can't talk, try to form words, surrounded by giant animals. Ancient Greece is like the 4-year-old kid just annoying people asking questions all day. What's that? Why? Why? What's that? But why? Roman Empire is like the 13-year-old walking around cocky, bumping into people, snapping each other with towels in the baths. The Dark Ages, you're like the 19-year-old when you think the world revolves around you, until Copernicus proves it doesn't. It kind of shatters your whole idea of life. The Enlightenment, when you're in your mid-20s and you kind of feel innocent, like we can get along. Humanity is good. We can make this work. And the Industrial Revolution, when you're in your 30s and you get cynical, you're like, just give me my paycheck. I don't care. Just do my job. Every man for himself. And now, the digital age, we're all like the old person about to die. Everybody's hunched over, medicated, cursing at the news. Maybe we already are out to pasture. You know, spend most of the time in the house, numb, waiting for the bell to ring with an Amazon delivery. Jeff Bezos. 3 years from now, Jeff Bezos is going to get on every device in your house, whether it's on or not. And he's just going to be real and go, okay, here's the way it is. Nobody leaves your house from now on. You want something, tell us what it is, and we'll send it to you. We're sending you all a free pair of pajamas. Put the pajamas on, start ordering stuff. Outside is over. It's inside from now on. Yeah. Yeah. You go outside 3 years from now, there'll be nothing. Rats, roaches, and Amazon delivery trucks. That's it. So what do? We continue along this path, adding fuel to the fire, keep going down this bad road, probably. Or, here's a radical idea. We start to look at ourselves, take some responsibility. See, we have people doing shit for us. We should be doing ourselves most of the time anyway. Could you hold this for me for a second? We look in the mirror and see ourselves as we really are and realize most of what everybody says about each other is true. The right can be a little racist and the left can be a little fascist, and you can tell the Christians by their guns and the liberals by their hatred of free speech. Is this what we're supposed to look? Is this what we really are? Let's honestly look at all 50 states and see what we become. Let's review. We'll start with the Northeast. Start with Massachusetts. Once the home of Sam Adams dumping tea into Boston Harbor. Now the home of Fenway fans dumping Sam Adams onto Yankee outfielder's head. New Hampshire was once the freedom fighters. Now it's a liquor store for Massachusetts. Vermont was the Green Mountain Boys. Now it's stoners that are lucky we still like Ben and Jerry's. Maine hasn't changed. Still early risers that think talking is for queers. Rhode Island, the only state where the governor has a baseball bat in the trunk. Connecticut used to be the enclave of high society. Now it's just a good place to run fentanyl from Montreal to the Midwest. Pennsylvania, if you can't throw a perfect spiral by the time you're 12, they make you put on a dress. New York, once immigrants waving documents to get into Ellis Island. Now it's millennials waving fake IDs to get into SantaCon. New Jersey, a bad idea to continue. Maryland, you can't steal everybody else's accent and then combine them and call that your accent. Delaware, we're a state. Yes, you are. And we go to the south. Mississippi, it's 90 degrees every day. How are you still 300 pounds? Alabama, if it wasn't for football, nobody would know who you are. Louisiana, an open container law is not a culture. Tennessee, every time a country music star gets her hair done, a polar bear's house melts. Kentucky, no matter what you accomplish, when anyone says hillbilly, we're all going to think of you anyway. Missouri, the show me state. You can't call yourselves that and then have nothing to show us. Arkansas, let me ask you a question, Arkansas. What would you do if Walmart didn't have their headquarters there? You'd be back to your old job of throwing pocket knives at each other's feet all day. Oklahoma, lose the rodeo, you're embarrassing yourselves. Texas, at this point, you just cowboy cosplay. You got the West. Arizona, all sand and no beach. That's a litter box. New Mexico, ugly Arizona. California, we felt sympathy the first 7 times you caught on fire. Now it's starting to be your fault. Nevada, the honest state. They legalized prostitution. They're like, we know we have no natural resources, but hey, we'll blow you. Colorado, you're rich, you're beautiful, and you pretend to be down to earth. Don't we already have a Gwyneth Paltrow somewhere around here? Utah, congratulations, Mormons, you've done the impossible. You're both exotic and uncompelling at the same time. Idaho, how are potatoes still your most fascinating quality? Wyoming, you peaked in 1870. I don't know, we'll call you if there's a Comanche raid on the fort, I guess. You got the Northwest, Oregon. On either side of them, the age of computers started on their front and back doorstep, and they said, let's open a sneaker store. Washington, lose the attitude, you're not the independent bookstore of states, okay? You sent us serial killers, Starbucks, and hipsters. What are you gonna do for an encore? Put Hep C in your apples? Montana, big sky country. I got bad news for you. Everybody has a sky. It's not really... North Dakota, the country's creepy old uncle in the attic. South Dakota, you seem stuck. I don't know, maybe build a city, just throwing ideas out here. Wisconsin, you're fat. Minnesota, the blonde leading the bland. Michigan, no matter how many times you ask, nobody's coming back to Detroit. Drop it. You got the heartland. Iowa, the only state that needs a Me Too movement for the cattle. Nebraska, if the Midwest was a rom-com, they'd be the unmarried best friend. Kansas, there's no place like home. Unless your home is Kansas, then there's no place. No place like every place else. Indiana, whoever said blondes have more fun must have never been to Indiana. Why do all the point guards look like Anne Heche? Illinois, we're more than just Chicago, are you though? Ohio, the good middle child of the country, reliable, responsible, relatable, replaceable. You got the Southeast. Virginia, the snobs of the South. Stop trying to be Connecticut, you hayseed. West Virginia, still riding them back roads, making moonshine, running from Johnny Law, huh? The manufacture of alcohol has been legal since 1931. Why do you keep doing this? The Carolinas, I call them the Carolinas together because you know how much that pisses off North Carolina? They think they're better than their brother. They're like the Nick Jonas of the Carolinas. Georgia, they shoot The Walking Dead there and they don't use sets. What does that tell you about yourself? And then Florida, you bum. You were supposed to be the crown jewel of the East, and you're hanging around the 7-Eleven parking lot sucking lithium out of car batteries. Let's not forget our stepchildren. Hawaii, you're beautiful, but you're distant. That's why nobody ever wants to spend more than 4 days lying down on top of you. In Alaska, we left you alone too long when you were young. Now you're a bit odd. That's all 50 states right there. Right? Thank you. And nobody's happy. I mean, we're supposed to be the happy country, and nobody is happy. Why? Because we take everything too far, the extremes. Republicans get too greedy. Democrats get too needy. The right wants to go back to the 1950s. The left reacts to everything like it is the 1950s. So what are we going to do? We're either going to, bloody civil war could happen, we break up, or we could all just leave. If no one's happy, no one's keeping us here. Everybody go back where you came from. Go back to Ireland, you go back to wherever your family's from, right? That's what people do when they get divorced. Go back to their parents' house and live there. Sleep on the couch, eat ice cream, cry. We just leave, but we leave no drama, no fighting, just quietly, just tiptoe out. Like the last scene in the movie The Birds. Just leave. The movie The Birds, I love that movie. It reminds me of this country because it's noisy, screaming, birds tweeting, chirping, people yelling, little kids' birthday parties, chocolate all over their face. And then the last 10 minutes, just silence. Nobody says a word. Nobody utters a sound. And that's what we do. Empty this country out. Just leave. No one will be left here, except whatever Native American tribes are still here. Because this is their parents' house. Where are they going to go? And they'll be standing there, watching for a while. Maybe a McDonald's bag will float by. Finally, one will turn to another and go, "Was that the peyote? Or was that just a really weird 400-year dream I had called America?"